How to interpret a gradient sunburst chart. Whether you need good help, a genius writer, a brainy tutor, or a data analyst, Intuito4U has them all. It's like having a research dream team on demand. And if you are new here, then subscribe now for more amazing video just like that.
All right, let's talk about one of the most eye-catching, most intricate charts in all of data visualization, the sunburst. I mean, it's gorgeous, it's complex, and it makes this grand promise to untangle really deep hierarchical data. But here's the million-dollar question. Does it actually deliver clarity? Or is it just a pretty picture that kind of hides the truth? Is this thing a work of genius, or is it just beautiful garbage? Let's dive in and find out.
Okay, first things first. Let's get to know this chart. What is it, and why does it have this almost magnetic pull on us the first time we see it?
I mean, just look at this thing. Seriously, before we even get into the technical definition, you can just feel its impact. It's so intricate, it's colorful, and it gives you this immediate sense of order and organization. This particular chart was actually used to analyze thousands of documents and social media posts about the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. It just pulls you right in and makes you feel like you're about to uncover some hidden truth, all in one stunning picture.
So what is this thing really? Well, the sunburst chart, you might also hear it called a ring chart or a multi-level pie chart, it's designed to do one very specific job: show you hierarchical data. The easiest way to think about it? It's like a pie chart had a baby with a set of Russian nesting dolls. That inner circle is your big main category, and then every ring that moves outward is that category getting broken down into smaller and smaller and smaller subcategories.
Now, let's build the case for the sunburst, because I don't want you to think it's all just for show. In the right situation, with the right data, this thing can be an incredibly powerful tool. So let's see how.
This is a perfect example of its biggest strength. Remember that MH370 analysis? The researchers were just drowning in information. But with this chart, they could click on a major topic in that center ring, like this one here, for plane/people, and immediately start exploring all the little subtopics related to it.
And this, right here, this is its superpower. It lets the user drill down. You see that? When you click a segment, the entire chart reorients itself around that new, more specific topic. You can go from this huge overview to focusing just on theories about a plane crash, or maybe you want to see everything related to terrorism. This ability to interactively explore, that's what makes the sunburst so compelling. It puts you in the driver's seat. And it's not just for sifting through news articles either. This approach is surprisingly versatile. People use it to visualize company org charts, to see who reports to whom, all the way up the chain. You can use it to map out the file structure on your computer, where each ring is just a deeper and deeper folder. Or in the world of marketing, you could use it to break down your customer base, starting with broad age groups and then drilling down into specific income levels or locations. Okay, so up to this point, the sunburst seems pretty great, right? A fantastic interactive tool. But hold on, because this is where the story takes a sharp turn. There is a very strong and very loud argument that this beautiful chart is often just a beautiful lie. Here's where the promise of the chart clashes with reality. It promises to show you how big different pieces are in relation to each other, right? But the reality is our brains are just awful at comparing the size of angles. It promises to guide your eye from the big picture to the details, but what really happens is the center gets all the attention, and those outer rings where the really juicy insights might be, they get completely ignored. And that beautiful balanced look, it can totally hide a massive imbalance in your data, making a tiny sliver look way more important than it actually is. And here's the real kicker. The deeper the chart goes, the less effective it becomes. The critics say that by the time you get to that third ring, that third layer of detail, you've lost most of your audience. Their brains have just checked out. The whole thing becomes a confusing mess, and any critical information buried out there is as good as invisible. So, what do we do with this? On one hand, it's a brilliant tool for exploration. On the other, it's a misleading mess. Genius or garbage? Let's put it all together and land on a verdict.
And here's the bottom line. The sunburst chart isn't good or bad in a vacuum. It's a highly specialized tool, like a scalpel in a toolbox full of hammers. Its value, its usefulness, depends entirely on what you're trying to do, what your data looks like, and, this is the most important part, who your audience is. It's all about picking the right tool for the right job.
So here are the green lights. When should you go for it? Use it if you're showing a simple hierarchy, where the size of the pieces doesn't matter, like that org chart example. It's fantastic if, and this is a big if, your audience can actually click on it and explore it for themselves. It's also great if your main goal is just a high-level, kind of aesthetic overview, where the structure is the real story you want to tell. But for the love of clarity, keep it to 2, maybe 3 layers max. And now the red flags. When should you run in the other direction? Absolutely do not use it for data like budgets or sales numbers, where people need to make precise comparisons. Don't even think about showing it to a room full of executives who need the bottom line in 5 seconds flat. If your most important insight is hiding out in those outer rings, just forget it.
And maybe the biggest sin of all, if that chart is going to end up as a static image in a PowerPoint or a PDF, it loses all its interactive magic and just becomes a confusing decoration.
Okay, let's zoom out for the big finish, because this whole debate, it's not really just about the sunburst chart. It's about a fundamental truth of communicating with data.
And that truth is this: the message is sacred, the format is not. It is so easy to fall in love with a cool, flashy, impressive-looking chart, but we have to remember, the one and only goal is clear communication. If the format you choose gets in the way of the message, then the format has failed, period. It doesn't matter how cool it looks.
You know, it's not a glamorous thing to say, but it's often true. Sometimes the best, clearest, most effective way to show your data is a simple table or a basic bar chart. We shouldn't twist ourselves into knots trying to use a fancy visual when a simple one would get the point across faster and with way less risk of someone misunderstanding it.
So I want to leave you with this one final question to ask yourself anytime you're building a chart. Are you working to make the data look clear? You know, making it look organized, impressive, and tidy? Or are you doing the much harder work of making the data actually be clear? Because there's a world of difference between those two things.
Thanks for watching.